It was a typical summer day, June 23rd, and Tony was on call that day, but it was quiet. At 7:25 that evening, we heard the screech of brakes out in front of our house and ran out, and Heather had been struck by a car. Tony rushed over and started doing CPR, and an ambulance was called, and they continued to try to resuscitate her in the ambulance, but she was dead on arrival, and that's something you never recover from.
You know, what do you do after a disaster? You know, you take a couple of weeks off and you go back to your life. And I showed up at OR number 9 at Albany Medical Center just like I had over 100 times before to do one of these late-term D&Es. And I wasn't thinking of this as anything special. I obviously had other things on my mind. This is just routine. This was my work. And there's a device called the Sofa clamp, which was actually in the movie. And you put that clamp inside and you rip out an arm or a leg. And I'd done it well over 100 times. It was routine. But I literally stared at that limb sitting in the clamp. When you do a D&E abortion, you have to basically stack parts up on the side of the table, and when you're done, it's gruesome, but it's absolutely true. You essentially have to reassemble the baby to make sure you got everything. You have to make sure you got 2 arms, 2 legs, and all the pieces, because if you don't, your patient's going to come back infected, bleeding, or dead. So I finished that abortion, and I know that it sounds strange to people, but after all those years, after 1,200 abortions, after over 100 late-term abortions, I really looked at that pile of body parts on the side of the table. And for the first time in my life, I didn't see her wonderful right to choose, and I didn't see what a great doctor I was helping her with her problem, and I didn't even see the $800 cash it just made in 15 minutes. All I could see was somebody's son or daughter. And in that moment, it hit me all at once. A lot like what Abby describes. It hit me so hard, and it was like I had just buried my daughter, and here someone came to me and offered me money to kill their son or daughter, and I said yes.